What do we really expect from a party that promises disruption but delivers disarray? Reform UK, the political brainchild of bombast and opportunism, has once again shown that it is better at internal chaos than national leadership. The spectacle unfolding around Rupert Lowe's legal action against Nigel Farage, Lee Anderson, and Zia Yusuf is not a minor skirmish. It is symptomatic of a party tearing itself apart under the weight of its own contradictions. Lowe's defamation suit is not merely a legal maneuver. It is a profound indictment of the culture of intimidation, secrecy, and tribalism that festers at the heart of reform. Let's not sugarcoat this. When a political party chooses to leak accusations of bullying against a member just 48 hours after he publicly criticizes the leader's messianic complex, it reeks of political assassination. And when that same party commissions an independent report, led by a barrister best known for defending Donald Trump, to rubber stamp its accusations, it's not credibility they are chasing. It's vengeance. The orchestrated release of this so-called investigation before Lowe could respond is not only unprofessional, it is undemocratic. In any mature political movement, due process is sacrosanct. In Reform UK, it appears weaponized. There is a reason the British public increasingly sees smaller parties like Reform as caricatures rather than credible challenges. While the Conservatives unravel and Labour struggles to redefine itself, the political space is wide open for a movement that can speak plainly, act justly, and lead boldly. But Reform squanders that opportunity every time it trades political principle for personal vendettas. If this party genuinely aspires to represent a disaffected electorate, it must start by demonstrating that it can govern itself with integrity. So far, it has shown the finesse of a street brawl and the unity of a sinking ship. Lowe may be no saint, politics rarely offers them, but he is entitled to fair treatment, particularly when the allegations cut so deeply into a politician's public trust. If his version of events holds water, that Reform UK launched a smear campaign to silence his internal criticism, then this is not just an internal matter. It becomes a public concern. Because if a party cannot tolerate dissent within its own ranks, how can it possibly be trusted to represent the divergent voices of an entire nation? The most damning aspect of this debacle is the complete silence from Farage himself. The man who built a brand on unfiltered speech suddenly retreats when scrutiny turns inward. There is nothing more cowardly in politics than refusing to face your accuser when you are the one holding the megaphone of influence. Farage has every resource at his disposal to respond with clarity or humility, but instead, he allows intermediaries to fight his battles, bury the facts, and muddy the waters with inflammatory claims. Lee Anderson and Zia Yusuf, meanwhile, are either complicit in this political theatre or incompetent in handling internal disputes. Neither option bodes well. Their decision to publish a statement alleging multiple serious threats to physically assault Yusuf without first exhausting internal dialogue or due process reveals a trigger-happy, shoot-from-the-hip culture. It's not governance, it's tabloid politics with legal consequences. And let's be clear, invoking the police before substantiating claims is not a sign of principle, it is a tactic of deflection. It diverts attention from the party's implosion and casts shadows over individuals without proper adjudication. If their claims are genuine, they deserve to be treated seriously, but not used as cover for a failing internal power dynamic. Reform UK loves to wrap itself in the flag of free speech, anti-elitism, and political courage. Yet here it stands, trying to gag its own members when they speak inconvenient truths. If Reform cannot handle one of its own challenging its internal machinery, how will it cope with the cacophony of parliamentary scrutiny? How will it stand up to civil society, media interrogation, or the inevitable fallout of legislative missteps? What this fiasco reveals, bluntly and unapologetically, is that Reform UK lacks the moral infrastructure to scale its ambitions. A political party is not a personal fiefdom. It is not a talk show. It is not a cult of personality. And it certainly is not a safe house for fragile egos who crumble under criticism. This is a defining moment for the party and its figureheads. If they truly believe in the movement they claim to lead, they must be willing to subject themselves to the same standards they impose on others. Otherwise, they are not reformers. They are hypocrites in reformist clothing. The real story here is not Rupert Lowe's lawsuit. It is the crisis of leadership Reform UK now faces. And unless this party is willing to confront that head-on, with transparency, fairness, and humility, it will implode not by the hands of its enemies, but under the weight of its own deceit.